Meanwhile, a new documentary shows just how intense the battle with China over intellectual property has become.
This is a spy story.
This is as big of a case as we've had in 20 years.
There is a Chinese spy who's trying to obtain secret technology.
A story that shows how millions of American jobs, now and in the future, are on the line.
I think every major American corporation in any of these fields needs to assume that they are a target to be either replaced or gutted.
What's at stake here for the U.S. economy?
American quality of life, American innovation, ultimately American national security. It's just not just Wall Street, it's Main Street.
China's corporate spy war explains how Beijing is using covert agents to attempt to infiltrate and steal from some of America's biggest corporations. The documentary airs tonight on CNBC at 10 p.m. Eastern. Joining us now, the host of that documentary, senior Washington correspondent for CNBC, Eamon Javers. Eamon, this as we try and stabilize relations with China, what's going on?
Yeah, absolutely difficult timing for the Biden administration here. You just talked about those comments from President Biden. We saw Blinken in China trying to mend fences over the weekend and early this week. And now you've got the U.S. intelligence community looking at China's efforts to steal from American corporations. We've been working on this documentary since October, and I tell you, I got into it because my sources in the U.S. intelligence community kept telling me, we don't think that corporate America gets it. They don't fully understand. The general sort of thinking in corporate America for years about this has been, well, the Chinese are stealing because they're behind, they want to catch up, and they're going to narrow the gap. It's going to be expensive. It's going to cause us some problems, but it's basically not a huge deal. But what the intel community guys were saying that the corporate folks were missing was it's a two-part plan. One is to steal the intellectual property and then to hand it off to selected Chinese companies, subsidize their products, and if they can, eliminate the incumbent American companies who are in that space. So that's a much deeper threat than a lot of people in corporate America assumed they were dealing with. That's why we got started in reporting this documentary and talking to all these spies, law enforcement experts, and the like about this threat.
There's so many flashpoints between Washington and Beijing right now. It's easy to overlook this one, this sort of the corporate side of it. So there aren't many things in D.C. that bring Republicans and Democrats together these days, but one of them is this need to, they say, to do more to combat China, to curb China's rise in influence, in this case, theft. What are some of the measures being considered that you look at here?
Well, what we look at here is a case involving GE Aviation, right? There was a Ministry of State Security spy, that's a Chinese intelligence agency, in China trying to crack into GE Aviation to get fan blade technology. It sounds obscure, but it's absolutely crucial to making profitable jet engines and to making a jet engine company like a GE Aviation or a Boeing, for example. They tried to get an engineer inside GE to leak them the technology. And when the FBI found out about this, they approached the engineer inside GE in Ohio, flipped him, and sent him back to the Chinese as a double agent. So a classic sort of spy versus spy tale of a double agent going back to the Chinese. The Chinese thought, we've got a secret source who's going to give us the secret plans for the jet engines. In reality, he was sending fake plans that had been doctored by GE back to the Chinese. They thought they were getting the good stuff. I won't reveal the ending of how the case ended up, but that's the kind of level of espionage that they're seeing. And when you talk to the CIA experts, as we did for this piece, they say, what we need to do is a lot more double agent operations, send a lot more spies back at them, because that's the only way you can fight a spy versus spy war.
The documentary China's Corporate Spy War airs tonight on CNBC at 10 o'clock Eastern Time. CNBC senior Washington correspondent Eamon Javers, thank you.
Thank you
very
guys.
much for bringing us that report. We'll be watching.